Welcome back to the Voice of CX Africa, a show where we share customer experiences from African perspective. I am Laura Minde, your certified hospitality trainer.
And Steven Kagame, your CX futurist and certified marketer.
Right. So today we'll be talking about listening to our customers. Why do you think it's important that we need to listen to our customers? A lot of the businesses, I feel, they don't listen. Why do you think it's important that we listen to our customers?
Very, very important. So looking at the customer and looking at the business, these are two individuals.
Right.
I like to say that every brand is a person communicating with another person.
Right.
So in communication, we have the receiver of a message and the one that gives the message. So listening is important to have a balanced communication. So for effective communication, you're going to have to be either on the listening end or you're going to have to be on the speaking end. So the customer speaking to us will require that we actively listen to them and listen with an objective of helping them understand what it is that they're trying to understand about our brand. So listening to the customer is very, very important.
Yes.
For us to understand how they feel about our product, what it is that they want us to improve. Because without listening to the customer, you would think you are driving the right way. And then eventually you knock, yet the customer already gave you a red flag about that. So pretty much that's how I look at listening to the customer.
Yeah, and I think what you just said, adding on to that, our customers get to leave our businesses. We know our businesses from the inside, but our customers get to walk the experience. We talked about customer journey the last time, and our customers are able to tell us exactly where our pain points are and where the wow moments are. So it's important for us to put tools and systems in place to be able to get these insights from our customers. Because I always see it as the customer feedback is like a free survey. You came and experienced my product or my service, then you tell me, how was that for you? But the key is, what are we going to do about the information that we receive? I have a good story, like in the hospitality business. One time I asked housekeepers that I was training, I asked them, what do you do with these survey forms that you collect in the rooms? And one person was very eager to answer, and they said, madam, it depends. If the feedback is positive, I will take it to management. If the feedback is negative, I will tear the paper up and throw it in the bin. So clearly, you can see that they don't understand the importance of feedback. Do you think this is a mindset issue?
It is, and I think it trickles down from top to bottom. Because if it's a culture that they have built where most of the leaders are feedback averse, they don't want to hear feedback. They don't want to hear the negative things about their brand. That way, it's going to stifle its flow from the customer-facing teams to the leadership. So for me, I feel it all comes down to the leaders and what culture they have built about feedback. Because if your business is customer-centric, it's going to listen more to the customer than just doing things from a biased point of view. And that's what breaks the whole relationship that we have with customers. So feedback is very important.
And just right there, breaking this whole relationship, because I feel like some business owners think that, what do you know? You're not the business owner. I know my business. So what can you add? What value can you add? What do you say to these business owners that see that they know best?
No, like in the conversations we've had earlier, I said that feedback is an opportunity to know what is behind your back.
Yeah, I like that.
Because no one is able to see behind their back. So when it comes to feedback, you need to look at it from an objective point of view. Don't look at it as something that is punitive, but look at it as something that is going to help you improve your relationship with your customer in how you deliver your services, in how you treat them, in how you deal with your internal customers who are your employees, because they're part of the product.
Exactly.
And these are the people that customers interact with. So feedback is important basically to give you a picture. unbiased picture about your brand. Like it's authentic, it's candid. Your part is basically to make the best out of that feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Because, a lot of consumers these days, we have a lot of choices. There's so many channels that I can get whatever I want to get. And the worst part is we have very little patience. So if I'm unhappy with your business, I can quickly shift to another supplier. So feedback is very, very important. So let's now look into how can we receive this feedback? How can we collect feedback from our customers? I mean, one of the ways that the simple tool that I always say is just listening. For example, if we talk about the restaurants, when you're serving your guests at the table, you are somewhere by the side or looking or marking the table. Yeah, and it's true. One of the simple tools that we can use in businesses to listen to our customers. If I give the example of a hotel or a restaurant, you go serve a customer a plate or a dish. And then you walk away and you're standing on the sideline there. And then you see this customer suddenly push the plate away and shake their heads and then mutter something to someone else. This should give you an understanding or a glimpse onto what's happening on the table. So this is some kind of listening by observing body language, nonverbal communication. So you can just simply approach the table and ask, is everything to your liking? And then you get to hear now the feedback from the customer, right? Just observing, simple observation. Simple listening. One time there was a table sitting and I could hear them. So it's talking about, we're looking for an event space. But the hotel they were in had an event space. But the service providers there were not listening to understand that somebody wants a venue. This could have been a marketing opportunity for them to sell a venue of their own just by listening. So what are the tools can we use in terms of listening to our customers?
Wow, that's amazing. Looking at what the experience you've shared, for me, I look at what you've said as communication and application of emotional intelligence to like read the environment and to pick the nuanced, expressions of most of the things that we see. So like for that example, if at all you notice that someone is looking away and having a side conversation with someone about what they saw, try to be inquisitive, but in a very respectful manner. Ask them, is there anything we can help you with? Is there any challenge? So one of the tools that I feel are very, very important for us is on a lean scale, have WhatsApp communities. That is not going to require you to pay. You're going to have a community and then get most of your loyal clients, because feedback is very balanced if it comes from a loyal client.
True.
Because they value your brand and they want you to become better. So they will tell you something that is balanced. It's not biased.
Yeah.
Because you built a relationship with them that they can be open to you and tell you, what, I think you're not doing this right, you're doing this better, keep doing this better. So WhatsApp communities are very important, especially for your loyal clients. That way you're going to be able to get feedback in a very quick, manner. You're going to get it real time. And then you're going to act on it real time.
Yes.
Because this is a community where you can directly communicate as well. And be like, okay, thank you for this feedback. Let's do this, and this about it. Next time it should be better.
Yeah, and in this WhatsApp channel, I understand there's communities around where they just post businesses that are not doing well or performing well. I mean, this community shouldn't be about shaming or running people's businesses down. It's about growth. It's a growth opportunity. We say feedback is the breakfast of champions. So people need to take feedback as a positive way to grow. And one of the things that I notice in businesses is that once we receive the feedback, we don't do anything about it. Can we talk a little bit about acknowledging feedback?
That's very important. Once you receive feedback, that is more like gold that has been handed to you. Not many people get to know what people are talking about them.
Yeah.
But once you get it, treat it with courtesy, treat it with great purpose and intention.
And not to defend ourselves like, that's not true, that's not what happened.
Because not everyone gets to know what people are talking about them.
Yeah.
Every human being wants to know, okay, I'm moving, but what do people, speak about me?
Right.
So once you get feedback, look at it as an opportunity to improve your service, as an opportunity to achieve service excellence, as an opportunity to make the experience of another customer that will come to your business even better. So someone who has gone through the hardest experience telling you that, you improve this because this was a pain point for me, show them that you're doing something about them, because you also don't want to lose them. someone who takes time to give you an experience
feedback,
or
yeah.
feedback about how they felt, that's someone to keep. So acknowledge, thank them for sharing that feedback.
True.
And say sorry in a way that is respectable. Be like, we are going to do this and that. We are sorry about the experience you had, and thank you for taking concern. And this is what we are going to do about it. If someone sends you a review that wasn't good, reply promptly. Because we have
Yes.
Google My Business Review where that is going to be like social proof for certain other customers to make decisions. So if someone say you gave me very bad food, come through and answer it objectively. Don't say that.
Start
Sorry,
justifying yourself.
Exactly. You will say that, we are going to scrap off maybe, we're going to maybe suspend that
Service.
waiter or anyone that worked on, own it and show the customer that there's resolve. There's something we want to do about it. And this is what we are going to do.
Yes.
We are sorry about what that caused. I mean, if there's a way you can actually make it better, do it
Yes.
better. But a review is very important because when someone is looking for businesses that offer what you're offering, they're going to see that.
Yes.
And that's going to inform their decision of whether to go for your brand or go for a competitor.
And we talked about in our last episode on customer journey mapping where they're comparing.
Exactly.
Before they make a decision about buying your product, they usually compare you to someone else. And the comparison is also based on the feedback that you received.
Exactly.
Do you acknowledge the feedback? Do you actually action on the feedback? Do you get back to the customer, this is what we've done after your very thought out comment?
Yeah.
Right? So we saw that feedback we can collect using observation, listening, Google review. Where else can we collect feedback? Because like we said, our audience or our customers are in multiple channels.
Yes.
So how can we streamline the collection of this feedback?
Very amazing. So looking at the different tools that are available, because if you want to get an all-encompassing view of your business and what people are talking about your business or brand, you're going to have to use tools that give you that single customer view. What are they saying on X? What are they saying on LinkedIn? What are they saying in different conversations that they get in? What are they saying, on Google My Business Review? So it will give you that. So there are tools that are available, social listening tools.
Right.
And one of them is Hootsuite. We have Sprout Social, very important tools. They have a free trial for 30 days. And then after that, you can now look at the different packages you can pay for. So these will give you a 360 view of what people are saying about your brand, or even leaving that aside, people are talking about your industry. You need to be part of those conversations.
True.
Because that is where you fall. So you are affected by whatever people get to discuss about. So you have to have your ears in every conversation to know, okay, they are talking about this product. It could be a competition to me. How can I make my product better? So that's going to give you market intelligence. You're going to be able to know how your brand is perceived out there. You're going to have a competitive analysis of your brand. Like, what are my competitors doing? What are customers saying about their brands? And then that way you're able to pivot and improve your services.
And I like that because, this feedback that we receive, it's a free market research
Exactly.
that is just being handed to you. So the question is, what are you going to do about it, right?
Yes.
So why do you think businesses are reluctant to receiving feedback?
That's like a very big problem. And I've noticed that many businesses have this biased view about doing business from their point of view.
Exactly.
And yet, for you to build a sustainable brand, the voice of the customer has to be accentuated. You need to make sure it's heard.
Right.
So once you have an opportunity to get to hear them say something, whether positive or negative about your brand, take it receive it with so much intention and purpose. Know that this is coming to help me become better, not to bring me down.
Not to break you, yeah.
Exactly. So receive that feedback and make the most out of it. See how you can become better. So most brands struggle with receiving feedback because it goes down to personalities of the people in the key decision-making units.
Yes.
Some of them are averse to listening to
Feedback.
yeah. Especially if it's negative. So also, I think creating a system where even your teams are taught on how to communicate this, because some feedback will come directly from the customer to your customer-facing teams. So to know how to relay it to their seniors is going to come down to how they have learned how to communicate it. You know, sandwich methods. You talked about different other methods that you can use while you're communicating, such that it is balanced. That as a leader sitting in the boardroom, I will know that, okay, this is what the customer says. This is what my teams are suggesting for us to do. And therefore, this is what we're supposed to respond to the customer. So that way you break the barrier of aversion, like feedback aversion, like we fear feedback. No, like you receive it and then do something about it.
And there's a story that I have. We went to a certain property here in Rwanda, and then the experience wasn't very good. When we stayed there, we came with our 2 children, but it happened to be a party there, so the place was loud all night long. The staff themselves, they were passing through the corridors, screaming and shouting. There was logs and things all over the place. So we wrote a feedback, an email, explained to them what exactly went wrong and what were the pain points, and even gave suggestions on what they could do in the future. So we got a response, and the response was ChatGPT generated. That crushed us. What do you think about the use of AI in responding to feedback? Because you could clearly tell it was not human that wrote that email. It was very structured, very... You know what I mean when I say ChatGPT answer.
You can feel it.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
And so we responded actually saying, we know this is not you. This is ChatGPT. We need a human to reply. Can you talk about the importance of human in feedback, especially in critical moments in business?
That's very important. I remember in one of our conversations I talked about there are processes you cannot automate. There are things you cannot automate, and that's the part of feedback. Yeah. Feedback and follow-up cannot be automated because people want to hear a human voice behind that phone. People want to feel a human, feel like a human experience from the words that you write to them. And we are human beings. We can tell what's human and what's automated. So I think what I would advise any brand is to make sure that the person replying to this feedback does it in a very empathetic manner, not a manner that is auto-generated, because that way you value the person speaking to you. Right. Everyone wants to feel like they're heard, not that their feedback was put in a machine and the machine is the one replying to them. That takes away from your authenticity as a brand. So to break that, make sure you answer in a way that shows that there's a human being understanding what I felt by sending this feedback. Because emotions are everything. It's like the catalyst to every message that we give out. If you read a message and it doesn't make you feel a certain way, that means it is auto-generated. It's not real. But if it's a human being behind that message, you will tell that they took time to think about it and they are replying to make sure I understand what they're saying. So for me, I would feel like brands should, in the era where we have AI taking over most of the tasks, make sure that your differentiator is the human aspect, humanizing such engagements with your clients. Yes. That way you're going to become more competitive in this very competitive environment.
So just to take a step back, we talked about the importance of feedback in businesses. We looked at how we can collect feedback. We now talked about using humans' emotional intelligence in giving feedback. Because sometimes it's not necessarily about the feedback itself, but it's about how the feedback was delivered. Because sometimes you can get feedback just by face-to-face interaction. Yes. And the customer comes to you and they're yelling and using inappropriate words, even shoving and pushing. So how do you take such kind of feedback based on a rough delivery, should I say?
Yes, yes. So we all must understand that the person facing the customer is a human being, and the customer is a human being. But this is where the whole paradox is, that if you're a human being and they're a human being, if they're setting the place on fire, you don't have to also set it on fire. So I think we should emphasize empathy. Empathy, yeah. They normally say that the customer is always right, but I would love to say that that's not the case. The case is that, okay, if the customer is not feeling well or unhappy with what you offered them, try to make sure you become the cushion. because you can't give from an empty cup.
Yes.
The customer is broken. You
Yes.
can't be broken as well. So you have to have the guardrails to make sure you're taking in the pressure and the fire,
Yes.
and then in a very respectable manner reply to that feedback. Listen more, because when a customer is heard, it feels very good. They feel recognized. They
Yeah.
feel valued. But if at all you speak as they're speaking, that means it's going to become a very tough conversation after
Yes.
that. So try to listen more. Active listening is very important. When they're ranting and throwing all tantrums, be the one to listen, and listen in a way of wanting to make sure that they vent out their challenges, and then understand where they're coming from, and then come up with an answer that is in a low tone and respectful way. That way you're going to build rapport with them, and then
Yes.
eventually they will leave not as a dissatisfied customer, but an advocate for you
True.
in the way you treated them. So emotional intelligence is very, very important.
Yeah, and what I took there is also the service recovery technique.
Yes.
Because you can fight fire with fire.
Exactly.
And a lot of people as human beings, like in Tanzania at least, we have this saying that you shake like the matchbox, I'm going to light the fire. So don't tease me with your anger, because I can show you the real anger.
Exactly.
So we shouldn't do that. And I like that we need to understand that the customer is coming from a broken place.
Yes.
You broke a promise. So I am frustrated because of the promise,
Yes.
not necessarily because of you, but because I expected 1, 2, 3, and that
Yes.
I did not get.
I didn't get it.
Because nobody wakes up in the morning saying, today I'm going to yell at Kagame when I get to the place. Nobody. It's because of the gap of what I expected versus what I actually received.
Exactly.
And that's when I will complain. Right. So now, how can we tell our audience a
Yes.
simple tool that they can use today to generate a simple survey to understand what their customers are saying about them?
That's very important. So like we've been having conversations about feedback. Always understand, why am I collecting feedback first? As a business, know that this is why I need the feedback. So that means the questions you're asking must be revealing.
Exactly.
Don't ask closed-ended questions. Ask questions that will allow the customer express themselves. There are those that will be closed, especially the quantitative ones. So have like a quantitative question section and also a qualitative question
Yes.
section. That way you'll understand how a customer is feeling. So come up with a survey, but tailor it to what objective you want to achieve. Because people get feedback, but they fail to get insights out of the feedback. So they just use it as a way of ticking off some boxes for their appraisal and key performance indicators. But again, you want to make sure that this is what I want from the customer. That means you ask questions that will help them express themselves and make them very brief. Because
Yes.
not everyone wants to sit down and think about how they felt using
10
your product.
minutes.
Let it be very brief.
Yeah.
It could be a QR code that they can scan, or it could be just a form. I know we are in a time where we're trying to fight for our environment, so people are running away from paper. But if that's where you're at, just get a small paper that they can find at the point maybe they're leaving your brick and mortar, and just fill it. Just encourage them to fill the form, and then that form can be looked at afterwards, and then come up with decisions that can make it. Action it. And tell the customer that this is what we did about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think for me, something simple that you can do is come up with a survey, but make sure it's customer-centric, and make sure it helps you understand the gaps that you have in the business. Yeah, don't tell them, rate us, give us your rate.
What did you think about our service? Our service is very general. Be specific.
Be specific.
Which part of the service did you like?
Exactly.
How did you find, usually in the trainings that I do when we talk about a waiter going to ask the staff, how did you find your food versus how did you find the steak?
Exactly.
So one specific item in that dish so that they can give you the real feedback.
Yeah.
And timing is also very, very important.
Very key.
Try to get this feedback when the emotions are still high.
Exactly.
I still remember the moment.
Exactly.
And not 2-3 weeks later after the incident is
You're
when you
asking
tell
for
me
feedback.
for the feedback. I don't remember what happened. Unless you made me feel exceptionally good, that's when I'll remember.
That's
So for
very
our
important.
audience, once again, we have a tool for you. our feedback strategy checklist. Don't forget to download it on the comment section of our podcast. And don't forget to tell us how it helped you on LinkedIn via the Voice of CX Africa. I think we're coming to a wrap. What do you have to add to this?
Well, as I close, I think it's important for any brand out there to focus on creating systems that help customers express themselves, not only the outside customer, but also the internal customers, which are your employees. Because when the employee experience is great, you're going to get a great customer experience. So make sure you create a system where you are open to feedback. Because culture eats strategy for breakfast. Once your culture is not good, whatever strategy you have, it will all just remain on paper and never get effected. So I encourage brands out there to apply most of the insights we've shared. And I know once you do the little small steps, you will start to see the results. The Pareto rule says that 20% of the actions you take will give you 80% of the results that you need. So for any brand out there, I think it's very important to focus on getting feedback, but receive it from an objective point of view.
Thank you. And that's a wrap. Remember, keep creating experiences that are worth talking about.
Great.
This is Laura Minde with
Steven Kagame.
See you next time
in our next podcast.